Hi guys, this is Mike, and the purpose of today's Wizard of Odds Academy lesson will be to explain why you should never take insurance in blackjack. What insurance is a side bet that the dealer has a 10-point card in the hole. It is offered when the dealer already has an ace up, so it wins in the event that the dealer gets a blackjack. The insurance bet can be made for up to half of the player's original bet, and it pays 2 to 1 if it wins. So I'm going to put a 2 for the pays if the dealer has a 10-point card in the hole, and a -1 if the dealer has an ace and a 9, which represents that the player lost his insurance bet. So let's assume 6 decks of cards, shall we? Assuming no other information other than the ace up the dealer already has, there are 96 winning cards for the insurance bet, 16 times 6, out of 311 left. There's 311 because a full 6-deck shoe is 312 cards, and we take one out because of the dealer's ace. And there are 215 cards that will cause the insurance bet to lose. So let's take the product of the win and the probability. 2 times 96 over 311 is 61.74%. And 215 divided by 311 times -1 is -69.13%. In other words, the player can expect to win 61.74% of his bet and lose 69.13% of his bet. So we take the sum, which is -7.40%. That means that for every dollar the player bets on insurance, he can expect to lose 7.4 cents, or 7.4% of whatever his insurance bet is. 7.4% is a pretty high house advantage, and consequently I recommend that you say no to insurance every time. And before someone says in the comments, Mike, what if the count is good? What if I'm counting cards? Yes, then of course there are exceptions if you've been counting cards and you know that the remaining cards are very 10 rich. But for the recreational player that's not counting, insurance is a terrible bet, and again, I recommend you decline it every time. What about even money, you might be asking me? Well, let me explain to you first of all that the even money offer is the same thing as taking insurance. It's only offered when the player already has a blackjack and the dealer has an ace up. So let's look at what would happen both ways if the player has a blackjack and takes insurance. If the dealer ends up getting that blackjack, the main bet will push, so it wins nothing. But the insurance bet will win 1 unit because the player bets half a unit on insurance The insurance bet pays 2 to 1 on the winning blackjack. 1/2 times 2 equals 1. Next, if the dealer does not get that blackjack, the player's main wager will pay 1.5, but he will lose half a unit on the insurance. So the combined win between the main wager and the insurance wager is 1 unit when the dealer does get a blackjack and 1 unit when the dealer does not get a blackjack. So it doesn't make any difference whether or not the dealer gets a blackjack. If the player has a blackjack and takes insurance, he wins 1 unit either way. And what the dealer is essentially saying is, look, if you take insurance, you're going to win 1 to 1, regardless if I have a blackjack. I may as well just pay you now before I even check what I have. So it sounds attractive, but let's do some math and see if you should take it. Okay, let's evaluate the situation where the player has a blackjack, the dealer has an ace up, and the player declines insurance. If the dealer has a 10 in the hole, then the player will win nothing, because it will be a blackjack against blackjack tie, in other words, a push. If the dealer has anything else in the hole, the player will win his full 3 to 2 on his wager, or 1.5. So let's assume knowledge of no other cards in the shoe other than what's already on the table. There are 309 cards left out of the 312 card shoe, less the 3 cards already involved, the player's ace and 10 and the dealer's ace. So the probability that the dealer has a 10 in the hole is 95 divided by 309. Like I just said, there's 309 cards left. The shoe started with 96 tens, but the player has 1 of them. The chances that the dealer has an ace to 9 in the hole is 214 divided by 309. So let's examine what the player can get back either way. So if the dealer does have that 10 in the hole, the player can expect to get back nothing, because the probability of 0 times anything is 0. If the dealer does not have that 10 in the hole, the player can expect to get back 1.5 with a probability of 214 divided by 309. So the product of those two numbers is 103.88%. So if we add them up, it's obvious we still get that same 103.88%. So what this means is, if the player has a blackjack, the dealer has an ace up, the player can expect to win 1.0388 times his bet, or about 104% of whatever he bet. So the decision to whether or not to take even money is the decision: do you want to get back an average of 103.88% of your bet, or just 100%? What's more, 100% or 103.88%? Well, 103.88% is more. Therefore, if you're seeking the greater expected value, which you should be, in any casino game, you should decline even money and go for that 103.88%. A few caveats here. Number one, again, this is assuming the player is not counting cards, just a recreational player. Number two, this is assuming that a blackjack pays 3-2. And finally, this question has come up on my forum every once in a while, and a lot of people use the argument that, yes, I make a good mathematical argument for declining insurance at even money, but what about the psychological argument? If you're in this situation with a blackjack against the dealer ace, some people will say you have a 100% chance of being happy by taking the even money, locking in a sure win, but only a 69.26% chance of being happy by declining the even money. Okay, those figures are right, but in the casino as well as real life, you should be long-term minded. You should be thinking, what is the expected average gain for any decision that you make? Do not always play it conservatively and lock in the small win when the average win by taking a chance is greater. And of course, there are exceptions for life-changing situations, but if you're playing blackjack, it assumes that you like gambling to begin with. So you're in the casino, you're gambling. Gamble on winning that full 1.5. Don't settle on the measly 1 unit. And furthermore, even if you do use this argument of, I want a 100% chance of being happy right now, I'll take the even money, that happiness is only going to last less than a minute until the next hand. I think you should be thinking, what is going to be your happiness when you finally walk away from that table and you go home for your trip? The more money you win or the less money you lose from that sitting and the whole trip, the happier you're going to be. And furthermore, you're going to get more, shall we say, action by taking that chance on winning with your blackjack. And like I said, you're gambling to begin with, so gamble. And I can't think of anything else to say on this topic. I hope that I've convinced you to always say no to insurance and even money. Thanks guys for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.